How are you doing out there? How's everyone doing? You know, if you need a little bit of a pick-me-up, this is a really great episode for you. We just had the gathering of the second wave, celebrating 6 years of nonstop international bestseller for the book, The Second Wave, Transcending the Human Drama, that I channeled all those years ago from White Eagle, Ascended Master of Earth School. And, you know, the encouragement is to realize that you are not here by accident. You know, if you're finding this episode, if you're noticing this gathering, if you're intrigued, if you're called, then you're someone who recognizes the profound moment we're living in, a time of unprecedented awakening on our planet. And you might even be part of the second wave. You might know yourself by many other names, Diamond Child, Indigo Child, you know, whatever the name. If you feel called here, if you're a healer, a teacher, a mentor, a psychic, a plant medicine facilitator, a writer, an educator, a therapist, even a mom or a dad who cares about the future, this is going to be really a great episode for you to join and be encouraged and inspired by. So stay with us and enjoy the ride.
Soul Nectar Show, the Soul Nectar Show. You're invited, delighted to discover who you are. Anything is possible if you believe. So join us on this beautiful journey. Soul Nectar Show, Soul Nectar Show.
Welcome, everybody. This is the 6th anniversary of the Second Wave book being released, which these lovely humans came together with me to put our wisdom in this book. And I channeled this guidance from White Eagle for this book. And this was like my coming out party. Hi, I'm very strange. And this is all the ways I am. I am a rainbow sheep. And so the Second Wave book is this one, and you might find it on Amazon, Audible, some other places. But if you notice, it has White Eagle, but then it also lists Lisa Barnett, Jennifer Huff, and Gary Stewart, who are all here. Isn't that nice? Everybody's here. Everybody was able to be. This is ordained. This is actually July 27th, the actual 6-year anniversary of this book coming out into the world. After which, and I don't take personal responsibility for this, the whole world fell apart. So this is not my fault. I do not take responsibility for this. But like literally we published this book, and then like 6 months later, we were in San Antonio together, many of us, and the whole world just went, you know? So it's been a journey, you guys, like really such a journey. And so while we have great joy at being together with all of you, and I know I feel it, I'm sure everybody else has been feeling it, the bubbles for days, like this is exciting, we're all gathering together. And, you know, we're gathering together with a lot on our hearts. And so I want to honor that. There's a lot on our hearts in this space today together. And so that's really the inspiration that came to me was, wow, there's so much going on in the world right now. And wouldn't it be so helpful and amazing to gather us all together as a collective and to bring forth the gifts of this beautiful panel and all of your presence and all of your gifts that are here with us to create a love bomb, you know, a different kind of bomb, a love bomb, and to serve the Second Wave Soul Pod, because, you know, we are part of the Second Wave Soul Pod. And, you know, if you read the introduction to the invitation to this event, you saw you are not here by accident. If you feel, and you're getting goosebumps, I don't know anybody else getting goosebumps. I've got goosies all down my arms right now. And if you feel called to this gathering, then your soul recognizes the profound moment that we're living in right now, this unprecedented awakening on our planet. So thank you, not only for being here, but thank you for coming. Thank you to your soul for saying yes to be here at this time on the planet. I know it's not easy. And if I invited you to come to the planet at this time, Part of me wants to apologize, but also like it's such a blessing too. Okay, so please forgive me. And also let's come together, and create some beauty at this time. And so we know that Dolores Cannon's work is one work that's very profound and widespread. People have learned about the second wave. The first wave of volunteers were in the 1960s. We're the second wave soul pod of conscious beings who incarnated specifically for this pivotal time in human history. We are the healers, the teachers, the mentors, the psychics, the plant medicine facilitators, the writers, educators, therapists who came to support humanity's evolution into higher consciousness. And so this gathering is a sacred homecoming. It's a space to connect with your soul family, to remember your mission, and to align with the collective purpose that brought us all here. And so together we're going to explore today, we're going to work with some different energetics. Jennifer Huff is here. She's got holographic seeing. It's incredible. Lisa Barnett is decades of experience with the Akashic Records. Gary Stewart, family constellations, ancestral work. And then I'm going to round it out at the end with some shamanic healing, some rainbow light activation, whatever else my soul chooses to bring forward through this thing, which I'm usually not told till the last minute, which is why I don't really prepare more than just a basic flow, because I have no idea what's going to happen. But it's all going to be great, you guys. So I want to invite you that if you haven't read the Second Wave book, check it out. Maybe it'll give you some joy. You'll go, that's what I've been going through. So there's a link in the chat, and you can access my link in the chat because for whatever reason I can chat, but nobody else can. It's really weird. So we're going to go with this. But go ahead, access that. And if you're not able to, because you're watching this back on YouTube or someplace, you can go to the show notes down below, or you can go to Amazon and just look up The Second Wave by Carrie Hummingbird, because there's another Second Wave book that's got a completely different topic. That is not what we're doing here. So we're going to start with Jennifer Huff. So Jennifer is going to lead us in. Jennifer Huff is the #1 international best-selling author of Unstuck, The Physics of Getting Out of Your Own Way. She's the CEO of The Wide Awakening, an expert in bridging the gap between science and spirituality. And she has the gift of holographic vision, allowing her to see what is in your way so you can fully love your life and move from surviving to thriving. And she has experiential programs, advanced guidance, and global community agents of awakening. All of that is designed to fast track your dreams and find your flow. I'm going to pin Jennifer, and so you guys can hear what she's got to say and turn over the mic. And I just welcome you, and I'm so grateful that you all were able to be here today.
Hi. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Huff, and I'm an economist. Truly, I'm an economist and an accountant, believe it or not. And I really am thrilled to be here today. I have been having conversations with my clients just epically. And I want to make sure that I serve you the best that I can. So because this group cannot see the chat. So Lisa, Gary, and I can't see the chat, but what we can see is the Q&A. What I'm going to ask is for everyone to switch over to the Q&A. And as you're jumping in, we're all just going to look at your Q&As, even if they're not questions, as comments. So I have it live here streaming, and just go right ahead and say hi. And all right. So what is holographic seeing? As I said earlier, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'd rather get right to the message. And much like Carrie, and I suspect Gary and Lisa, we're all in the present moment, absolutely prepared in our connection to our infinite wisdom that just seems to be so available when we're all collected here together as a soul group. I'm very clear that we got the four of us got, and you got a cosmic phone call to be here, and that cosmic phone call came from your future self, who is looking to have the most expansive and incredible journey of life. My ask for myself is that you do not, approach what's about to come through as I'm some kind of guru. You are each your own gurus. In fact, that's one of the evolutions of the second wave, is that the time for gurus, I mean, the last iteration of Babaji came through and said, the time for gurus is over, which means that you are truly meant to become your own guru, meaning you're meant to go direct. And I have the good fortune of being able to holographically see the entire future list of future trajectories for systems, for the world, for political systems, for economic systems, for human family systems, for one person's individual system. And when I say future, I mean the future, meaning all the way back in history and all the way forward, and all of the trajectories that might happen, not as a psychic, but as someone that's looking at potentials based on the choices that you've made. And holographic seeing does not require eyes. It's like see, feel, hear, touch, tasting all at once in one big ball, and doing it through your 75 trillion cells. So it's like seeing with 75 trillion metaphysical eyeballs, as opposed to seeing with your actual two eyeballs. So imagine when people say, well, you have one mouth and two ears, so, you better be listening. And I'm like, yeah, you have two ears and you have 75 trillion cells. So there, put that in your peace pipe. So part of your empowerment is that, and truly, truly get that. Speaking of peace pipes, we truly have the ability to find peace within ourselves through that communion with greater source. 75 trillion cells sending out photon packages of light that contain the communication of being able to build a bridge with, so the communication of who you've become and how you did it is actually contained in photon packages of light, not in a woo way, because remember, I'm an economist. I came to this world not through economics, clearly, through the fact that I've almost died 5 times. 3 of them were actually near-death experiences. And in those experiences, what came through was that we are quantum physical beings, meaning the quantum essences of the gravitational pull of the photons, of the, let's say, the quarks, the subatomic essences that actually form and are intended to form this 3-dimensional reality. So the quantum world extends into many of the aspects of the quantum world extend into 12 dimensions of our existence. But imagine that only one dimension is the third. And love and gravity, or I'm going to call in human language that passion, you're passionate about something, and love all extend into every single dimension of you. The quantum field aspects of the quantum field are in every single dimension, which means that if you can actually affect the quantum field, you can make permanent, non-regressive change. And so when I almost died, the first one was when I was born, but one of the significant ones where I had a near-death experience was when I got exposed to some serious toxins. And when I got exposed to some serious toxins, I could actually see everyone in the room. I left my body. I saw everyone in the room, and I saw us exchanging photon packages of light. And we were informing each other, not from our mouth and our ears, as I was talking about earlier, but most of the information that was happening, was an exchange of my soul speaking to other people's souls, my soul speaking to other people's souls, but not through my voice, literally through my 75 trillion cells leaving my body and then being received. We have receptor sites for certainly we have receptor sites for photons. We have receptor sites for all kinds of light, including synchrotron radiation from the sun. So the source of all life is constantly feeding us information. The source of all life, the sun, is actually, that's why it was worshipped by so many civilizations. It was worshipped by so many civilizations because the photon packages of light from the sun, synchrotronic radiation, we actually have receptor sites for. So imagine that photon packages of light, the way you communicate who you are, how far you've come, and what's underneath your words, goes around the earth 7 times in a second, because that's how fast light travels. It goes around the earth 7 times in a second. So when people, and this is where I wanted to begin, when people lose hope for humanity, and just breathe for a moment. When people lose hope for humanity, I know there's possibility. Why do I know that? Because with every evolution you make, with every new awareness you have, with every bridge you build with your brain, which with every letting go to a deeper sense of love, with every transmutation and transformation to another frequency so that you can receive more of your innate wisdom, every time you shift, you actually make hundreds of thousands of pieces of information, new pieces of information about how you can evolve available to yourself through photon packages of light from 8 billion people who are all going through their own journey and evolving and informing the field, informing consciousness, informing. As I studied quantum physics, I realized deeply that our capacity to shift ourselves as a human family, that capacity is readily available. Everyone has 75 trillion cells that can receive photon packages of light. And as we learn and as we grow, we receive more and more information about what's possible. The question is, how do we get out of the way? I wanted to share a few things. One is that we're meeting here at a time where we are just past the day out of time in the Mayan calendar. And that day out of time gives us an opportunity to be able to settle into this incredible space, energy, orient ourselves to a global reset. It happened to actually fall on a new moon as well. And that new moon and day out of time really give us the potential cosmologically. And I don't mean this, I really don't mean this in a woo-woo way. I'm actually innately not necessarily a very woo person. I mean it actually scientifically. When there are millions of people that adhere to belief systems, the quantum particles arrange themselves to allow us to optimize ourselves based on our agreement about what a new moon is. And since millions of people experience a new moon, what happens is it is such a powerful opportunity even scientifically, to be able to go to the next level, to be able to clear the decks, clear the slate. And we're just after that time. What does it mean with respect to the laws of physics? What does it mean with respect to the laws of physics? To actually be in a time of great change? What does it actually look like in the hologram, in the field? And I share this to be able to give us all some peace in these times of great change. What it means is there's an era shift. What it means is the people that are here on this call and the people that were in the book are actually meant to be bridge builders in a time where the era for humanity is shifting, meaning the era, not only spiritually, but the era for money, the era for politics, the era for economics, the era for our environment. And you were very specifically chosen to be here in these times of great change in order to take the polarity, because in the laws of physics, the instant there is a problem or something that appears suboptimal, and let me just say, the instant there is a problem or something that appears suboptimal in the world or in your life, in the macro or in the micro, the laws of physics say there have to exist multiple solutions, or the entire universe, I know this sounds pretty epic and a little dark, but the entire universe would implode upon itself if there wasn't problem and then endless solutions to that problem. Who you are, who I am, who we are people that are more interested in understanding how to align to the solutions than we are to the problems. We're more interested in actually activating how we can rather than arguing for the reasons how come we aren't there yet. And the context for this conversation with beautiful Lisa, Carrie, and Gary is this, that in these times of great change, the speed, because of technology, the speed at which the contrast is coming at you is much faster. What that means is that your ability to be able to turn the contrast into supercharged energy of being able to connect to the quantum, to the wisdom, has to be up-leveled. So what does that mean in terms of the world of being unstuck, which is the book that I wrote recently? In terms of being unstuck, which would be the booby prize, because ultimately what you want to be is flourishing through these times of great change. So what are the paradigm shifts? And this is really what I wanted to bring through for everyone now that we've contextualized it all. So the first thing is that the time for analyzing one thing at a time is long since past. Analyzing one stuck issue in your life or one belief in your life at a time, one of the things that consciousness has responded to is, since we're going faster, it feels like life will pass you by if you end up analyzing every past life and everything and then processing and then integrating it. They've given us the ability to be able to transmute hundreds or thousands of, let's say, unproductive, or I would call them let's call them suboptimal issues at a time. Because even my judgment of some stucknesses, I was reading some of the comments from the posts that I was doing in Facebook and what Carrie was doing in Facebook, and I was reading what people were saying. So even judging your disconnection is actually creating solutions already. And so how do we do this? How do we get to the place where we're actually receiving the solutions rather than focused on actually resolving the problem? It's an issue, isn't it? Well, there's a metaphysical tool that you can use to actually, we talk about that as a human superpower, an innate ability. And with that innate ability, what happens is you're able to take the energy, because it's just energy, of the polarity or the problem or the issue, right? Recently, I was having an issue in my communication with my husband. There was a polarity. And what I did in an instant was I took the feeling of the polarity, the energy of the polarity, and since it's just energy, I turned it into, and I refocused in an instant just by using my hand. I just turned my hand and I focused all the energy, kind of like a mirror would do to sunlight. I focused all the energy in a different direction with my hand, and I focused the energy on the solutions. And instantly, my mind just went, yeah, that is what I'm interested in for myself and for humanity. Not interested in being right about what's wrong. That just expands what's wrong. So another aspect that's shifted, that's beautiful, is that in these times of great change, we are coming to a place where the polarity is so much that there's going to be a breaking point where you literally have to surrender to the solution. So don't worry. For those of you that are really worried that like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get to the solution, you will eventually come to a breaking point where your body will literally, where your psyche, your emotions, and your spiritual nature will have to acquiesce to the solution. The intensity will just be too much. The great thing is you don't have to. The next ability that's come because of these times of great change is the ability to embody the ability to embody. And you might say, what the heck does that mean? But one of our innate abilities is to be able to instead excavate the reason why we keep following the old patterns. Instead of doing that, which is very survival based and won't work anymore, you're probably noticing that the ways you used to work through stuff and the way you used to get balanced again or the way you used to get connected again, it's not working anymore. And so to finish up, thank you, Carrie. That's so funny. That's awesome. Um, the way to get to that place where you are actually no longer excavating is to actually, so it's a new methodology, and that new methodology allows you to actually embody that which is being catalyzed, get to the new frequency, and from the new frequency, this is a little mind blowing, from the new frequency, actually re-perceive the density, not only of the one problem you are looking at, that's the catalyst, but of hundreds of problems at a time. These are abilities that I'm just activating in the field because that is the first step of being able to make permanent, non-regressive shifts. And if you make permanent, non-regressive shifts and embody the ability to embody, meaning you can't go backwards, you're new, all of a sudden, we're talking about a whole new world for you. And we're also talking about a level of confidence and doubtlessness that is unmatched in the history of all time. So we're in very exciting times. And you want to lean into the direction of who is teaching me about who to become, how to become, and who we really are as human beings with all of those superpowers. Because as you do that, everything starts to fall away much more quickly. And we can all do it. It's not for the special people, it's for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Love you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. That was Beautiful. And now we know timer works too. So that's cool.
No kidding. That
It's
was
like,
hilarious.
dun, 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 so yeah, thank you so much. What a beautiful insight. And, turning, I love the use of your hand, noticing you're in problem mode and then just flipping and saying, where's the solution? And switching the mindset into solution.
Yeah.
Trusting all of these little cells in our body, all of this light that's emitting, going around the planet.
It's all, like literally, Carrie. I mean, holographic seeing is an amazing thing because when you look at human beings, you see that as we change, as we take responsibility for our evolution, the bridges that we went across to create to like every step along the way gets embodied in our photons, and then the ways that we shifted become available to everyone. So when people get nervous that the world can't change, no, 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 no. You got to understand that if enough people are facing forward, what happens is those photon packages of light and the shift, there becomes a tipping point, and all of a sudden, I mean, it's really inevitable. So it's just how fast are we going to go there, right?
Yes. Well, it's at the speed of light. Let's hope.
Hello, B.
Thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. And I know that if you look in your chat, which I think everyone can actually see the chat, just not be able to actually put things in it, there is a link to Jennifer's book, Unstuck, getting out of the physics of getting out of your own way. And that is on Amazon. And I did put a link to it in the chat. And also there is a link to a free offer from Jennifer to get connected and see if this is someone you want to be in community with. And so that link is now, and if you're joining us from YouTube or you're watching this back, the links will all be down in the show notes. So check it out down there. Again, we are using the chat. Thank you so much, Jennifer. So grateful for your gifts and your presence and your seeing and everything that you are.
Thank you for being the visionary that you are, beautiful Carrie. Love you.
Love
And
you.
Carrie and Lisa.
And Lisa. I'm going to unspotlight you. And I want to share the next wonderful guest. And I just want to give you a little teaser, you guys. We actually put together an amazing offer for those of you who are like, I love all this information. And could you put all your gifts focused on me, please? Yes. Why, yes, we can. So we're opening up a really, when I studied in the Four Winds Light Body School with Alberto Villaldo, we have this part of the class where we do what's called a shaman's bath. We're calling it a cosmic tune-up, but yeah, we'll focus all of our gifts on you, and we'll do it all at once at the same time for you, and it's going to be amazing. So if you would like something like that, you can actually check out the details at this link I'm going to put in the chat, and we've got a significant discount on it until the end of this broadcast. And so if you're interested in that, you can also put any questions in the Q&A, because right now our chat is on Mercury retrograde. I have no idea. I'm not a tech head anymore, so I don't know. So we're gonna move forward in the way that spiritual people do, and we're just gonna go for it. So here we move forward. We're gonna have some guidance from the Reverend Lisa Barnett, the visionary founder of the Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom, who harnesses her vast spiritual expertise to transform lives through the Akashic records. And so she has taught thousands of students worldwide how to access their personal soul library, providing wisdom, guidance, and support to fundamentally transform their lives. And as the best-selling author of 4 books on the Akashic records, Lisa shares profound insights that guide individuals toward healing, transformation, and self-realization. She has over 30 years of experience of channeling the Akashic wisdom and quantum healing, and she imparts empowering tools that lead to a greater fulfillment, happiness, abundance, and health. And so she does offer healing sessions to people that want to book those to clear some trauma, release karma, old soul contracts, and things like that. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to pin you up here. Welcome, Lisa, and thank you so much for being with us. I'm gonna take a back seat while you take the helm.
Thank you, Carrie. This is so fun and just so I'm so excited to be here with everyone. Um, I just love listening to my brilliant friend Jennifer and all the wisdom that she has. And honestly, I studied with Jennifer for a while. She is seriously brilliant. So check out her link, as is Gary and Carrie. But I did a deep dive with Jennifer for a while, and that holographic seeing is seriously transformational. So, so I'm Lisa Barnett, and I think I'm going to just start with what the heck are the Akashic Records and why do I care? Because I think that most of the second and first waivers know a little, but a lot of people still kind of look at me and say, but isn't that just about past lives? And I'm partly here to, straighten out that misnomer because it's literally about the soul your plan wrote for this life. So we truly came to be in this present moment. We came to be as first and second waivers. I think I'm actually in that first wave, a little older there, right? But we came to help transform the world, to create the new earth, to be the light and the leaders, and to support all of the other light workers who are all here. Millions of us on the planet, and so many of us are just waking up. And so what the Akashic Records are is the recording of your soul's journey through all time space continuum. And so the Akash is part of the quantum field. It is part of source. And one of the great blessings and gifts that I have found by accessing this field of the Akash, not only is it a grand library, but each and every soul has their very own library. So each of you has a library and a team of librarians who are seriously just waiting to talk to you. And so before we embodied, we wrote soul contracts with all sorts, most of us 25, 35, 55 contracts with other souls to work with them in this life. Really, it's this life oriented, to work through old karmic patterns, to learn and to grow and to share, to bring in more light workers, right? To have partners and to always be in growth mode. And so one of the beautiful things that I found in the Akash is that we can learn what our soul was actually thinking before we embodied. How many of you have had that thought like, seriously, what the heck am I doing here? I mean, that I occasionally still have that thought. I know, but I have a human moment here or there. But when I was about 3 years old, I realized I'm like, oh my God, I'm back trapped in a body. Had a trapped kind of issue. And so, so it put me on a spiritual path, which was, of course, part of my soul plan, that craziness, and so many of the challenges and so many of the amazing relationships that I've been really blessed to have in my life, because your soul is so wise. No one has just been to Earth once. Certainly not you who are here, right? You are first and second waivers, maybe even third waivers. I mean, it's going to take a lot of us to flip the world. And I know it's happening instantaneously. And I have absolutely no doubt that we're getting really close, which is, again, very exciting. I often get these kind of waves of excitement and kind of almost silly enthusiasm, but that's the energy that I feel. It's also part of the energy of the Akashic Records. Again, the Akasha is part of source energy. And so when you're in that field and space, you feel source love, you feel peace, you feel excitement and enthusiasm for your mission, your passion, all of the beautiful gifts and talents that you have come to share with humanity. Because, of course, we're all so unique. And it's so important that we get to be the creators and bring forward our gifts that we've honed over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes and share them with humanity in big ways and in small ways. You know, some of us may help our child or our grandchild or our partner or our best friend or animals, pets, right? We're here to not just work with other humans. We're here to work with Gaia herself, with the animal kingdom, with, you know, so many other aspects of life on Earth, that your mission may be that and not much about humans, or it may be more about humans. And so when we can access our Akashic library, when we can have a conversation with these beautiful beings of light who are in service really only to you, the record keepers are your team of librarians in service to you, that we really can start to understand the scope of who we are as ancient souls who have honed amazing skills in all of these other lifetimes. I know that many of you have come to share some sort of healing gift or wisdom. Maybe it's a spiritual wisdom. Maybe it's a new invention. Maybe it's something that's going to literally transform the way that we heal some of the, you know, dis-ease in the body that we know, you know, regular science hasn't worked out yet. So as we start to really be able to understand the truth of who you are as this infinite soul, as you start to look and read in your Akashic library, whether you're doing it through a consultation or a reading or session with, you know, someone like myself. I also have certified over a dozen consultants who do this work for others. But one of the things the record keepers asked me to do almost 20 years ago was to bring this work back to humanity, was to anchor the Akashic records back on Earth, because it had been pulled away during the Dark Ages. So about 1,000 years ago, the vibration of the Akash was pulled away because we misused it. And now at this time, they had said to me almost 30 years ago, you know, please help us to re-anchor it so people can access this wisdom again. Humanity has forgotten that they have this gift available to them, that they have a huge library all about their soul. And so over these last 30 years, I have to say, I'm excited to see how well anchored it is back on the planet. How many people are out there sharing, teaching people to do readings, doing readings for others, all of this kind of work, really anchoring this wisdom back on Earth. Because again, it is your birthright to really understand who we are as these infinite souls, what we've come to do, the gifts we've come to bring, the family members, the soul family members, the all of the contracts that we've come to live out, whether it's a support contract or a karmic contract. But, you know, I so agree with Jennifer when she says it's no longer about spending a lot of time excavating. It's about really that deep claircognizance, that clear knowingness, that great remembrance. In one sense, it is not about the learning. We're not starting from scratch. We're not babies. All of you first, second, and third wavers have been here for hundreds of lifetimes. We are remembering now. And as the veil is thinning, it becomes much easier to remember the truth of who you are. And I would venture to say that so many of you have been wise women and wise men, have been part of the ancient mystery schools, maybe part of ancient Egypt and the great temples of Isis and Hathor and Osiris, right? We've been part. We have been here for that long. We're not babies. We're here. We've come to help with the shift, right? And so as we really start to connect more deeply into our soul essence, into our heart, and into your own Akashic record, it gives you guidance. Right? To me, the Akashic record keepers, to have a team of librarians kind of in service to you, right? I have my team in service to me. I can open my Akashic records every day and say, so highest and best for me to do today am I in alignment with this project? Is this the day to spend more time with friends or family? What is coming through now? And to literally help us to understand and to see some of the huge challenges that are happening in the world, but to understand them in a bigger way. Right? So part of what the record keepers have been saying to me for quite a few years is that part of this shift into creating a new earth, into really raising the vibration of the planet, is we will go through a great process of letting go and a great process of rebalancing. Our world has been so imbalanced for probably the great majority of the last 10,000 years or so. But seriously, 4,000 years, you could see things, not working out quite so well. So as we read our own guardians and guides, as we can access the wisdom from, for me, the Akashic record. I can talk to my record keepers who are pure beings of light, but they're literally the source energy. Again, it's time for us to step into our own transformational gifts and powers, to really step into that greater truth of who we are and to remember. So for me, one of the fun things to do in the Akashic Records is to ask questions about what gifts and talents have I honed over the last 10,000 years? Show me some of these lives. Help me reclaim those gifts. Help me really, these are codes and keys and energetic aspects of your soul, that bigger aspect of your soul that we can reclaim and bring present in this moment now. And so not only through your records do you understand who you are and the plan your soul wrote. So maybe your soul wrote a challenging family. And we wanted that because we were wanted to help that ancestral lineage to end some lineage patterns, to end some abuse patterns, to end some addictive patterns, whatever it might be. But we, as ancient wise souls, have stepped into these lineages to support them because we're ancient and we can. And so as we start to see these gifts and be able to hone and remember and own these gifts, we start to embody them and transform our life. And so again, instead of a big aspect of digging and remembering and reliving pain or trauma from earlier times in our life or even from past lives, we can literally go into these past life energies that may have been very traumatic, right? We've often been killed for sharing our wisdom and our gifts, especially during the Dark Ages. But in the Akash, to me, I can look at that like I was going to read a book. Oh, isn't that interesting? I was a healer and I was a wise woman and I was killed for that. Oh, okay. So let me release any old trauma, any old stuck energy that I have held on to in my energy field, in my soul, in these patterns, in the Akash. Literally, one of the things we can do is to unwrite and rewrite some of these Akashic records because it's time and we have the ability to remember and to literally, in the quantum void, to release that emotional pain, that trauma, to be able to transform the old stories, whether it was from 3,000 years ago or, right, 30 years or 3 years, it doesn't matter. There is no time in the quantum field. And so my great gift and blessing has been to really be able to share this wisdom, to teach people to access their own Akashic records, to understand how we can transform and release and reclaim the blessings, the gifts, the talents that we have had in other lifetimes, so that we can very quickly come together in community and transform this world with much greater ease and grace than I think that many of us have thought was available to us. So one of the things I always love when I talk to the record keepers is their love, right? Is the beautiful energy of pure source that reminds us that we are infinite and powerful souls. And we are here to assist in this transformation, in this great awakening, in this full embodying of divine energy, really embodying the divinity within. And so, again, I really have to end with the excitement I feel when I see us all come together in this way and know there are so many people out there who are here consciously transforming the world, moving, helping us to move into this fourth and fifth dimensional world, and eventually on into the sixth. And so, with great, great gratitude, I just want to say thank you all for showing up, for sharing and being with us, and so much love to you all.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, Lisa.
Thank you.
I love your joy and your peace. Such a beautiful gift. And the transmission of that energy into the space is such a powerful thing for us to experience. I know many of us are having varied experiences at this time, depending on what we are seeing, and so having your perspective from that beautiful high frequency librarian of the Akashic Records, that joy is such a gift to have at this time. And there's a couple of questions here, and I wanted to ask you, when you look at the soul pod for the second wave, is it possible to look at it as a whole? Like, is there anything that's coming to you as like a whole group of people, of souls?
What I'm hearing is that this wave, the second really, and the next ones who are coming, are really here about bringing new wisdom, new ideas. Really, I always feel this energy of inventiveness, right? Inventors. Showing up. And so a lot of the second wave, right, in this kind of bridging with us here, a lot of it was about the remembering the great ancient wisdoms and guidance and all of that. And now I feel that expanse moving into the creation, the newness, the creating new inventions and ways to transform things with ease and grace. So again, I always feel that is very kind of exciting.
I kind of resonate as an inventor. Yeah, I kind of like that. I feel like I am. And I wanted to ask you also, there's a couple of things in the chat. Vino asked, can the past info in the Akashic Records be deleted or transformed or released?
It's absolutely able to release and transform Most of it isn't deleted because it's about your soul's growth, right? So we have experiences, and when we have really completed them, when they are actualized, when we have done whatever learning and growth around that, often to me, when we look at something like a karmic pattern, it's about the compassion and the forgiveness and really the shift forward. And so we transform it, but there's a lot of energy that I've literally, spent a lot of the last 20 years kind of um, unwriting, unraveling, detangling, and deprogramming, because there's a lot of programs that have been written into our earth and humanity that do not serve us. I don't believe they've ever actually served us, but it is time, and we are now conscious and aware enough that we can unwrite, unravel, and in that way kind of delete these threads, these ties that bind us down to the old programs, so that we can break free and be the creator beings that we truly are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And then the people are also asking about your workshop. So I know that when I go offline with you, you'll give me the link for your workshop that you were talking about.
Yes.
What's the name of the workshop again?
So what I teach, the first one, Akashic Self-Mastery, it starts with learning to read your own Akashic records. And I have been given 8 galactic access prayers that resonate with the 8 main galactic worlds. So it helps us to understand who we are as star seeds very often. And it also is just a simple connection to kind of our soul family and our soul lineage in a lot of ways. And so that first workshop is just really about learning to read your own Akashic records.
Beautiful. And I will post that as soon as Lisa sends it to me. And it will also go in the show notes below if you're watching on YouTube. So that will be available. Thank you so much for your beautiful gift and your light and your presence. And, I feel I feel the ancient piece of your soul, and that is a balm for these times. And so I'm grateful for you, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So grateful for you.
Love you so much. This is fun to get together.
So fun.
I know. Okay, I'm going to do technology now. Here we go. So, everyone, I hope that you are enjoying this. And I just want to also really welcome you to consider, as you feel in your heart, if there's just like I said, like Lisa's energy is really, really supportive at this time. And so if you're resonating with anybody here, just be sure to follow that up. Give yourself that gift of what you need to support yourself to be your highest and best, to be at the highest and best frequency that you can be, because we're not going to do this Lone Ranger, we really need community. We need community. We need each other to keep us sane, all of us together. So we remind ourselves, if you go to sleep and you're back heavy in the book of this current lifetime, oh no, what happens next? And you're your nose is super buried in it. This is awful, and you're really in that frame of reference. You might need some encouragement from a friend to just go put the book down for a second. Just remember, yes, and you are a timeless soul that has had many lifetimes, and this is one of those lifetimes. It's a pretty monumental one, granted, and we've done other things before that were also difficult, and we can do this too. We have the soul wisdom to do this. We can do this together. This is not impossible. This is possible. This is so possible and so exciting, and just so much that we can co-create together, as we dismantle everything that was, both at the same time, which is cool. Dismantling, creating, dismantling, creating. It's like a dance. We can do this. So check out Lisa's stuff. I'm gonna give you that link. And, don't forget, if you're really feeling inspired by this and you think, what would it be like to have all 4 of them looking at my particular soul and life plan? then check out the Cosmic Tune-Up and check it out. See if you want to do that with us. We would love that. All right, so now we're going to move into some ancestral and family constellations wisdom with Gary Stewart, the lovely Gary Stewart, who is a 5-time best-selling author. His latest book was Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth, and many other healing books on his Amazon author page. And his first bestseller is Ancestral Intelligence, documents the gift of life we all inherited with the wisdom and knowledge of our ancestors that really pales in comparison, to AI. We are the AI, let's just say. We're the AI of our souls. And then our human person said, let's create a version of me. So, it's kind of interesting how it all fractals down there. And Gary he's a world-class speaker and facilitator of 25 years, facilitating constellation healings locally, nationally, and globally. And he's been interviewed on the Dr. Nandi Show on ABC and also on NBC Palm Springs with Brian Gallo. So we're going to drum roll as I do tech to bring Gary in, and I find the thing. Here, Gary, come on board.
Great. Thank you. This is just such a wonderful day. What a beautiful day to spend on Sunday. I relocated from LA to Prescott. This is my backyard here. We have lots of lakes here. So it's like Sedona with water. So I love it here after my good and bad experiences in California. Well, I have a question for the audience that will address Jennifer here. What's faster than the speed of light? Consciousness. It's everywhere at the same time. There's no physical limitation. And I wrote a book with Amika Swami. He was with the Bleep. He was the quantum physicist with the Bleep. And we wrote a book called Quantum Activation together. And I said, okay, let me demonstrate a constellation to you in his living room in Eugene, Oregon. Now he's residing in India post-COVID. And I read his entire life history in 10 minutes, his entire family died. He said, I never told you anything. I said, you gave me permission to access the quantum consciousness of your entire family system. He said, but that wasn't the goal. I said, well, whatever your goal was, this is what's been blocking it. And so I'm going to have to rethink quantum physics after having a 10-minute constellation with you, which is actually quite amusing. But he's of the mindset that mankind is going down the materialist path, and he's ignoring the conscious path. And the conscious path is much more powerful than materialism, which is just a lower density. I don't want to judge it. We all live in it. But at the same time, all of us today are seeing that higher path of the consciousness that infiltrates the physical, whether it's through Akashic records or the photons. And the other thing about photons is, guess what? Photons transform darkness into light. And if you start at the Big Bang of the universe, so, in these days of polarity, we look at dark as bad, light as good. What if we can live beyond duality and see both occurring at the same time, supporting each other? In constellations, we deal a lot with our dead ancestors. So you could say the dead ancestors have either a positive or negative effect on us while we're alive. The key is, which we'll do a little exercise at the end of my talk here, is to leave the past behind so we don't have to carry their burdens, because we can let them be dead and let their history be dead with them without carrying burdens we can never resolve. What is that quote about insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Well, if your ancestors didn't figure it out, then how are we going to figure it out? Plus, we can't exactly raise the dead, but we can tap into their consciousness, which is what the beauty of constellations. It's very shamanic in origin. It's no different than a shaman of an Indian tribe going into the spirit realm to get an answer for someone who is sick in a tent way back in the 1800s or 1700s. It really is modern day shamanism if you look at it. And it's all inclusive without having any, say, religious affiliation, anything like that. And it's just beyond duality. So I'm very happy. And it's been about 27 years. I guess I didn't send you the updated bio. But, in the challenging times we're living in, I've actually been happier than I've ever been. And it's like, if there has to be destruction or delusion. Well, how's the best way? There has to be destruction to birth creation. So, what if right now we're going through a destructive wave because something bigger and better is being birthed? And it's no different than birthing a baby. A woman's in intense pain or labor, so I hear. Then all of a sudden it turns to joy when she sees that baby laying on her chest after a tremendous amount of pain was even a bigger amount of joy, because that's life. That's all part of life. And so right now we are going through chaos, maybe destruction, but maybe it's to a bigger creation, and we can celebrate that. It doesn't mean we have to be unconscious of the good, the bad, or the ugly. I was in the first wave in the 60s living in Harvard Square, Cambridge, and we were marching every weekend for equal rights amendment. Women got the right to vote. This is in the 70s. Women got the right to vote. Harvard University divesting from South Africa and apartheid. Boom, Harvard University stopped investing in South Africa. So if people stand up in mass, that's the biggest thing. Here we're connected with social media, but we're not unifying in mass, like Martin Luther King bringing 2 million people of color on the National Mall on a hot Sunday afternoon in the summer. So I tell people we're living in a Rosa Parks age. All we have to do is say no to what we don't want, like back of the bus. She changed entire civil rights history by just standing and saying no. Something so simple was so profound. So if we really want the change that we want to happen out of this chaos, we have to stand up and say no collectively to what we don't want and yes to what we do want. So these are the times we're living in right now. And that's also with our ancestry. We have to look at our ancestry as well. And the other thing is, can we be happy with change? So I find that there's so much change, very similar to the 60s. There were riots in the street over Vietnam. Students were being killed at Kent State. I mean, if you really look at it, and I was not a big Nixon fan, believe me, way back then. But if you look, we survived it all. Things changed, things evolved. And now we're kind of in the same discombobulated era in the United States, if not globally. So we just have to wake up and create the world we want. We do have that power. We just have to act on it and activate on it rather than being passive victims. So as far as your ancestors, can you hold that everything they did was good? You wouldn't be here if they weren't a success to survive any and all trauma. If you have Irish heritage, your ancestors, which I have Irish on my mother's side, had it together enough to survive the potato famine or migrate to Ellis Island. And if you're Jewish, your ancestors survived calculated, organized extermination, and you're here because they had those skills. And there's so many other atrocities that happen throughout human history. It actually is quite a miracle that we're even here. But can we focus on the miracle more than the problem? We tend to get stuck in the mud, so to speak, and that's part of our earthly existence. But can we see the gift in what they did give us and leave what's not a gift in the past with them, especially with your dead ancestors? I mean, we have an opportunity with constellations to see the energetics of what's been carried by you through your ancestral lineage. And the best way to honor that is to say thank you to them. We're going to do a little exercise right at the end about gratitude is the magic word to release yourself from all this here. Did anyone have any questions while we're moving right along here?
And I'll ask you a question. I know we have one from Angela now, but I'll ask you one question before that,
Sure.
which
Yeah.
is, I'm formulating.
Okay.
It seems to me from some of my downloads that I've gotten that we incarnated, the second wave incarnated into specific family lineages to embody the ancestral gifts of those lineages and to elevate the consciousness so that all of those gifts of the ancestry could be brought forward into the new world, and that we came here as sort of like the healer magicians in order to do that transformational process. What do you have on that?
Really brilliant, Carrie, because don't forget, everything that touches my heart, everything that we wanted in life is what they wanted. Do you think the Jews in Germany expected Hitler to want to exterminate them? Or, oh, we're going to put you on a boxcar to a better life? Did they expect that? But yet somehow they survived. Many didn't, of course. I don't want to deny the pain of that. But at the same time, can we receive what we did get from them and see it as good, even though it was done probably in the worst way possible? And, what touches me, like my own life, I was a severely battered child. And then it wasn't, my father died in the 60s of horrible survival guilt cancer. And he always talked about the beach, the beach, the beach. I said, "Oh, we love the beach. We go to, yeah, we're in Massachusetts, so we went to Hyannisport and all that stuff and saw the Kennedy roof, whatever." And I did not know till I saw Saving Private Ryan, Omaha Beach was the beach. And here I was like 50 years old saying, that's the beach. I'd never connected that. So even though I was a battered child from his post-traumatic stress, how could anyone survive running into bullets of Nazis, killing people all the way to Germany, then coming home so damaged and so PTSD? They didn't have acupuncturists and massage therapists on Omaha Beach to ask them how they were doing with their trauma, or any soldiers. So me being a baby boomer, we have the weight of the unfinished emotions from World War II. Can we bow to them and thank them for what giving us life in spite of that? So here's a bigger global. Globally, Pacific and European, 75 to 85 million humans lost their life. Guess how many baby boomers were born post-World War II? 75 to 85 million.
Mm.
How does death be life? These are the bigger conscious things. Somehow there's a balance between the dead and the living. And one way I resolved, in my heart, I trained with Bert Hellinger in Germany, and Austria is still proud of their son now in the 21st century. There were swastikas and iron crosses and windows to be bought in Austria now in the 21st century. Just think about that for a second. They're still proud of their son. And we know the outcome of what that Austrian son did during World War II. So it's this juxtaposition of everything. So one thing I did to heal that, and a rep showed me, she had repped my father. She knew nothing about him. She said, it was a woman. She said, I have all these dead people at my feet. And it wasn't my ancestors, it was everyone my father killed to stay alive. So I'm here because my father was an A-list killer of Nazis. And at the same time, I was bludgeoned to almost death by his PTSD. So look at all these,
So complex.
And I just found, my sister died last year, and I found a box of pictures, and I saw my 75-pound body as a little boy who was beaten ruthlessly, and I couldn't believe my body was that tiny. I picture myself as big as I am now, but how could that 75-pound little boy take all that and survive? So it's just quite fascinating. So in closing, I think I don't see the time clock, but I don't want to.
You're getting close. One more question. Does this include star family, like the constellations work?
Well, not so much, but I sincerely, my consciousness is open to everything. And I was doing a demo in Las Vegas at this little healing center, and the woman came up to me in the side room. I think I was dropped off on the wrong planet. This isn't, no, okay, is this girl in the table?
Sounds familiar.
Right. So she picks the rep in the room. No one was told a thing. And the rep said, "This is the wrong planet," was the first words that came out of her mouth. Now, we were 3 rooms away. There's no way she heard that. She said, "The planet I'm from, everything is cold and royal blue, almost like a refrigerator, the frost on a refrigerator." I'm like, how dare I judge that someone's telling me something that I can't comprehend? And the rep takes me to that other planet in a nanosecond. So I had to release my judgment of what I think crazy is and say, wow, this girl really was in the wrong planet. And maybe that's her lesson, to be in this Earth 3D reality for this lifetime before she goes back to her home planet. And I personally felt I was dropped off into the Stone Age, and I'm trying to bring it up to speed during that lifestyle.
There's one that's funny, Gary. I feel like I was dropped off in this Stone Age. There's one more question in the chat, which is, Why birth as Homo sapien, polarity faced, when one soul can remain in better realms? And also, there's a compliment on your shirt. It's a great shirt. But yeah. So
I think,
I do it.
we get so trapped in duality, good, bad, right, wrong, left, right, black, white, that we judge everything, which is okay. I mean, we're on earth to do that. But, what if heaven is boring, that we're in the spiritual realm and it's so crowded in heaven because no one has vocal cords, and they say, I'm going to go down there and create some drama. People are going to listen to me. People are going to see that I was there. I'm going to do something good. I'm going to do something bad. I'm going to make a scene down there because I'm so bored with the harps in heaven. And I just wonder if they come down here to create drama out of boredom on the spiritual realm and they really want to activate and learn, even if it's negative. Bert Hellinger was my teacher in constellations, and I flew to Austria to be with him before he passed. And he said, always remember, the same God that created Jesus created Hitler. And when you really look at that, that's just the prime example of duality, light and dark. And we're at the effect of those forces on earth. So can we bring lightness, not heaviness, but lightness to light in a dark paradigm that we may be in right now? But maybe the darkness is shattering, and this is the time of the birth of human consciousness into a lighter realm where we accept duality and darkness with love rather than hate. It's
Mm.
just a bigger cycle. So I have a real quick thing just for the audience, a closing thing here, just to think about this. And I can send you a small document to hand out to people after, Carrie. Can we accept the past as it was and leave it behind? Can we move forward into our power with our ancestors behind us? Remember, we're their gift to the future. All those dead ancestors wanted the same things we have. Now it's our turn to achieve it while we're here. And that's the biggest thank you your ancestor could receive, that you did something good with the gift of life that they gave you. And that's going to make them happy. So anyone who has a hard time with your family, and mine's as nasty as anyone else's there, just go to a tree or the sky and just say, thank you for the life I did get. I'll take it from here. And then just walk away with your back to the past. You've thanked your ancestors. A little bow is good, a little head bow or a deep bow, whatever you prefer. And then just walk forward in your own power. You've made your peace with them. Thank you is something a lot of them never heard. It was shoulda, coulda, woulda. And that's going to release you from the past so you can move forward in the future to make your dream come true, which is your birthright, which is included in the Akashic records as well. Let's make a new book in there. Thank you very much. It's just been wonderful.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much for your gift that you are. And I'm doing technology.
While you're doing that, here's one of my favorite quotes. It's not mine. What is meant by light? Gaze with undimmed eyes on all darkness. That's by a Greek gentleman. It's one of my favorite quotes I've ever read. To hold your light in the dark. And that's what we're talking about with Jennifer, Lisa, you, Carrie. It's just holding the light.
Yeah, absolutely. Holding the light. So I just want to invite everyone to come in to your heart. And if you feel safe to do so, even close your eyes. Hand over heart, hand over belly. Let's take a deep breath together as one big pod of souls here for humanity. Let's take a nice deep breath. And let's just imagine that we can gather together in a beautiful sanctuary in the forest with giant oak trees, roots spreading deep and wide under the ground, branches lifting high overhead. And in the center of this beautiful circle where we stand together, we light the fire. And we bring in Grandfather Fire, great alchemizer, illuminator. And bring in this beautiful energetic of great Grandfather Fire. And on the ground in front of you is a little stick. And you can pick it up. And into this little stick, just blow the heaviness, any heaviness you feel in your heart, any grief, any anger, outrage, anything that you're feeling from what you've been experiencing, witnessing in the collective, helplessness, just blow it all into that stick. And when you're ready, you can place it in the fire. Give it to that ancient wise being for alchemy. Hena e hawa, hena he wani. Ai hana we, hashane be away. Ai na hoe na, e na hoe na, he shana hana we. E shana hana we, hana we ana. Hey, hana we have. Hey, hana we have. Hajan we ana we. Hey na hui ana. Hey na hui ana. Anna he awe ana. Anna we ahe ana. Anna we ahe ana. He ana. Ahawena. And let's just take a moment and connect. Connect with the earth, Great Mother Earth, welcoming this beautiful, blessed Mother to hold us sweetly. And let's acknowledge the mountains and the mountain beings. And the forests. And all the mushroom mycelial networks under the soil. The intelligence of this planet connected. Remembering that you can also connect in with that network of light under the soil. Acknowledging now all of the oceans and the waters and all the life living inside the waters on this planet. And the waters living inside of you. Great Spirit of water. We welcome you to remind us of our power of word, the power of our wind on the waters, the power of our word to create reality. And as you look at your hands, there is a book there. And it's the story of you in this life. The story of you that you architected to experience. It's a good story. It's got all the magical ingredients of a really good story. But we're about to have a plot twist. And in order to let the plot twist come through, we need to shift from particle to wave. And so for just a moment, hold the particle, the book, just acknowledge its beauty, its grace, its perfection, and become the wave. Yeah, just be the wave. And let the wave move through all of you, every last bit. And now from this place, we can hold the book with honor and reverence and humility. We can feel the living book in our tissues, in our bodies, in our cells, in our minds, in our hearts. We can hold our own hands. We have come. We have come. We have come. We lift all that we see before us to the upper room, to be reknown, rearticulated, recalibrated at the highest octave, the highest expression available to us now, for the most potentials, for the most beauty, the most grace, the most adventure, the most potential. And so it is. Let's take a nice deep breath of that. And let's take another nice deep breath of that potential. And now just for a moment, let's allow the mycelial network to connect all members of the second wave soul pod so that we can feel each other's presence. We can see each other in the eyes, the light that shines there. We can feel it in the heart. And we can psychically communicate with each other with ease, simplicity, power, in a unified field of frequency, of love and truth and new earth. Visualize or feel, perceive that connection of the second wave soul pod forming. Lit up by light, connecting points of light in a massive grid all over the whole planet. See how powerful we are together. And let the higher octaves rejoice down through us, through our divine grid of light. And let's take another deep breath to just breathe in that beauty, that grace. And may we all have beautiful dreams tonight. Together, connected. I'm so grateful for everyone who said yes. Really beautiful. Yeah, sweetie. So I want to say, follow your heart and connect in. Whatever language you were using to understand yourself through, whatever phrase you received to describe who you were, whatever resonated as truth on your journey, just include it here. Include it here. Helpers, healers, mentors, mothers, grandmothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. If you are here, you are one of us. And we're all together. We're just saying some of us are awake to it. And we can connect together. And I want to say that from the human perspective, there could be some shocking things coming. And so, for my great compassion for the human part of us, I just invite you to remember who you are in truth during that. And to really tap into that connection with Mother Earth, that connection with the elements, to your body, listening to your body for direction and guidance. And getting yourself in community with others who are also awake, who are also seeing these things and hearing messages and having these experiences. And so get yourself anywhere in community with others to support yourself. And be kind to your body. Your body is going through a lot to integrate these frequencies and to align with these awarenesses. The body is our temple for this soul experience on the earth. And so really honoring your temple and your body. So grateful for all of you. And yes, if you would like to experience some of the magic, we'll put the link in the email. We're going to send a replay out and you can watch it. It'll be also on YouTube, so you can check that out. You can share it with anyone that you feel could benefit from this. And we look forward to getting to know you and your current story, your current version of you that you chose to be for this time. And I'm going to bring everybody back on to just say hello before we leave. Any last words from anyone?
Yeah.
Gary.
I have my own quote here. What if you could shine so bright in the present that your light dissolves the shadows of the past?
Love that. And I feel like that's what our ancestors want. We're like their biggest dream.
Absolutely.
We are their biggest dream.
Come true.
Yeah.
Love that, Gary. And so from our future selves, everything is there is no time.
Mm-hmm.
There is no time. And so the dream that is currently dreaming us is happening now. And it's from your future self and even from the future people that Gary is talking about that are the ancestors forward, and they're dreaming us backwards.
Right.
And so understand that to be present to the dream that's dreaming us is to live into the most blessed life. And to learn this, we're here to create upon creation. The contrast, and I think all three of us have said this, the contrast is not bad. There's nothing wrong with contrast. There's nothing wrong with the polarity because we came here to create. How do you create? You're either inspired forward or you're catalyzed forward by that which doesn't work so hot. And so if you're a creator, it's actually built into the system of being a global community. It's built into the system, not just the global community, it's built into the system of the entirety of the universe to have contrast to create upon. Even the nebula come from huge explosions, you know, so just to understand that our job is not to make wrong what's going on. Our job is actually to be curious on the adventure of what's potentialized by the contrast, and being curious on the adventure with the skills to be able to bring the future, that dream forward. It's really what leads to that expansive, blessed life. So I love the synergy of it, what everyone said here, what we all shared. Really beautiful.
Lisa, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I just love you all. I just feel just so joyful to spend this time with my soul family members and all of you. Obviously, the three of you, but all of you. You know, all of you who are out there. I feel you and I love you, and I know you are here doing beautiful light work, bringing us forward quickly into this beautiful, new earth. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to my friends, and thank you to my other friends that I can't see right now because we're doing this weird webinar thing. But I could feel you there. And I hope you can feel me and I hope you can feel us. And we're here always. And we're doing this together because there's no way like together, only together. We could only ever do this together because how else could it be? And so love you all so much. And we'll see you in all the ways we see you. Hopefully we'll see some of you in a session, which would be really cool, or in a program or in a community. And yeah, we look forward to shaking your hand and giving you a hug, and not just like this technology thing, but like actually knowing you. Okay.
Hey.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for coming, and thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Absolutely. See you for now.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
If you found even one gold nugget in this episode of Soul Nectar Show, will you do us a favor? Will you subscribe, like, and share this episode? Maybe even write a comment and let us know what you thought about it. We really, really want to engage with you at a much deeper level. Let's be part of community together. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now. To dive in deeper to nourishing conversation, visit soulnectar.show.
Soul Nectar Show. Awaken, awake to show. Take a sip from the drip of nectar, from the source of who you are.